Hello and welcome to Social Media in a Crisis, engaging on social media during an emergency. You're watching part 4 of a 4-part series. In the first module, we talked about media relations and meeting the press. In the second, we talked about preparing for an interview and interview techniques. In the third, we talked about tips for the most popular types of interviews. And in this module, we will be covering how you can use social media to engage with the public and the media in a crisis. Our objective throughout these modules is to provide best practices and tips for service members to communicate successfully with the media and the public in a crisis. These instructional modules take the format of PowerPoint slides with video examples and other kinds of examples with questions throughout to gauge your comprehension. Please feel free to press pause to think about your response and go back and review a section at any time. In this module, we'll look at social media and how you as individuals in the military can more actively engage in daily social media using your own accounts so that you will understand and be familiar with the various popular social media tools, quickly see and recognize issues, trends, and events as they happen in real time, as well as be alerted to misinformation and rumors that affect you and the military, so that you can be able to promote and amplify the military's messages and events via shares, likes, reposts, and retweets from your own accounts, and ultimately be prepared to use social media quickly and effectively before, during, and after a crisis. Now, social media provides great resources for collecting and sharing information. As we've discussed in the previous modules on the media and interviews, we all recognize that we represent the Army and want to follow best practices when sharing information via any medium. So today we'll start with an overview of social media, and then we'll talk about the benefits of social media, as well as a few risks. And we'll look at commonly used social media sites, provide tips for effectively using those social media sites. We'll review a few social media do's and don'ts, and then we'll end by looking at who might be your audience on social media as a service member. Here's a definition for social media from Wikipedia. Wikipedia, of course, is a free access online encyclopedia, which is edited by the user community that uses it. And this is a broad definition. And as we'll see, there are many different types of social media sites available today. But generally, they are online tools that allow people to create, share, or exchange information, ideas, pictures, and videos in virtual communities. Social media has moved us from one-way communication to two-way communications. In the past, governments only pushed information out, but now social media gives us an unprecedented opportunity to also take that information in and enhance our situational awareness. Connecting online is an important way that we communicate with each other now, and that's why we have to join the conversation using the same tools as everyone else. People use social media for many different reasons: to connect with like-minded people, to overcome isolation, to learn about events or products, or to build relationships. And perhaps most importantly to us, people are using social media to communicate during a disaster. The public is using social media, and so they expect us to do the same. And this is a retweet from Alex Howard from Craig Fugate at FEMA. We have to learn how to communicate in the way that the people we're trying to help communicate. Civilian partners and leaders are now recognizing the importance of communication during disasters and making the public a partner in that communication. And that's reflected in our change in thinking about the way that we do preparedness and response. We used to think about it as the whole of government, and now we think about it as the whole of community. By using social media every day, it's our hope you will be able to share and amplify important military messages, gain valuable situational awareness as it happens, and share actionable intelligence with command and operations during a crisis. And you'll be able to reach out to affected communities online during a crisis. Social media has quickly become the next generation of disaster response. For example, we can use it to gain real-time situational awareness, quickly provide life-saving, life-sustaining public information directly to the public. We can connect people and their friends and families, and users can connect with emergency response agencies to share what is happening in their own communities. Through mobile devices, social media still works when power and landlines are down. The federal government no longer thinks of communication as separate from operations. Public information is integrated across the core capabilities to prevent, protect, mitigate, respond, and recover. You can build as many shelters as you want, but they are useless if people don't know they're there or how to get to them safely. and government agencies are now on social media for all of these reasons: to save lives through rapid two-way communication, to reach larger groups of constituents, to build their own situational awareness, to respond directly to new, incorrect, or conflicting information, to build community resilience through prevention, mitigation, and preparedness efforts by the promotion of government participation and building mutual trust in the community, to foster transparency and accountability, and to reduce call volume to call centers during an emergency. You can play a part by actively engaging in social listening, by echoing agency messages on your own accounts, and by spreading the word through your own social media communities. Situational awareness is the ability to learn about events as they unfold, and we're just beginning to learn how valuable the speed of information really is. Social media gives us the ability to reach out via multiple platforms, to share information, and to respond to questions in the public. By monitoring social media, we can engage in social listening, which helps us better understand what's happening in our communities. If you do nothing else with your own social media, listen. It's imperative for all of us to be tuned in to the hearts and minds of our friends, family, political leaders, and community members. One of the greatest benefits of social media is the real-time situational awareness it provides. We've all seen how the first that we hear of incidents these days many times are tweets that are sent out only minutes after the incident happens. This tweet in particular, and a twit pic of a plane crashing in the Hudson River, is a great example of how social media now alerts us to problems well before we see it on TV. Many times, it's the first notification emergency officials get as well. And we're all familiar with the term breaking news, but now that term is outdated because today the news no longer breaks, it tweets. Often, the real-time situational awareness we are getting from social media is the actionable intelligence it provides. More often than not, social posts are alerting us to problems we may not have found out about for days or weeks. This real-time information allows us to act immediately and provide help much more quickly. The communications director for the American Red Cross told Congress, quote, "When residents of Sayreville, New Jersey had not received assistance 5 days after landfall, they used Facebook to let us know. We were able to route this information to our operations on the ground and get some service delivery going in an area we just hadn't identified." And as you learn to actively engage in social media, you'll have greater access to valuable information you can share with your command, your PAOs, and your partner agencies. And here we have a tweet from the earthquake in Haiti, identifying dead bodies everywhere without any response personnel available. In Haiti, it was one of the times where responders were able to target areas that needed help due to the traffic that they were seeing on social media. Just as important as the ability to get real-time situational awareness from the public via social media is our enhanced ability to provide critical information to the public as fast as possible. By being more plugged into your own social media circles on a daily basis, odds are good you'll be much more inclined to use social media in a crisis to help alert the public. Here we have a tweet from Texas A&M advising of an active shooter in the area. This allowed the university to get information out to the public in a very, very quick manner. And for non-emergencies, you can use your own social media to share information about public events happening on and off base, awards given to your colleagues, and any other news that helps enhance the military image and mission. In a disaster, you may be asked to support emergency operations. You may be in a position to see what local, state, and federal agencies are telling the public on social media. Social media can be tremendously useful to you in the aftermath of an emergency. On the following slides, we'll look at how social media can help us gather intelligence or operational information. And we'll talk about using social media for community outreach, gathering intelligence, and for heightened situational awareness. The following is a video about how the California Office of Emergency Services used social media in the immediate aftermath of the 6.1 earthquake that struck the Napa Valley region north of San Francisco. Take a look.
This is Carrie Scherer, and right now I'm in downtown Napa, California. Behind me is one of the hardest hit structures in the 6.1 earthquake that hit at 3:20 a.m. on Sunday morning. It's the Carpe Diem restaurant, and this is one of 15 buildings at this time that has been red tagged, which means that nobody can go in or out. But I had a chance earlier at the Office of Emergency Services to find out a little bit about how they're using social media to reach out and to communicate in a disaster of this type.
Right behind me you can see over 100 people coordinating on this emergency in this building alone. We've got other facilities open and activated. There are people from state agencies, from the military, from federal agencies, from nonprofits like American Red Cross here coordinating resources to respond. I think that in today's day and age we have to leverage social media as much as possible. I think that we've tweeted probably 30 times in the last few hours. We try to get social media messages out there as soon as possible, letting people know that we're aware of it. We know about how big it was or how bad the impacts could be at this point in time. Even though it's early, I think we need to get out as much confirmed information as quickly as possible, as often as possible.
We use a lot of different tools in social media, and frankly a lot of it we experiment with. So it's not necessarily that the way we're doing it is the tried and true way of doing it.
We like to use Twitter for all those quick messages like that we need the public to know right now. If there's a longer message or something that might be closer to a press release, we might be using Facebook and WordPress.
So we use all of those platforms. So in the case of today, one of the things we want to do is provide the media with at least a glimpse of what's going on. And, it's sort of reassuring to know, like, oh, we actually are in here doing something. So we have a camera that we can turn on and provide a live stream on Ustream of what's happening here, and then we push that out on social media like Twitter and say, hey, click here and you can see what's actually happening live in the State Operations Center. Skype's a great example of a tool that provides big dividends, and especially like in this case. We're here in Sacramento. We have the State Operations Center. There's lots of stuff going on behind us, right? But the media doesn't want to sit here and watch us working at computers. They want to be out in the field looking at where the building is collapsed, where there's water main breaks, where people are affected. That's 50, 60 miles away from here. So they have to make a decision. Are they going to be here or there? If we use Skype, that also provides them an opportunity to be here but not physically be here. We can tell them we're on Skype, we can do an interview with you. CNN does it, MSNBC does it, local stations do it. It provides just another channel of getting your message out in a convenient way, because the media can't always be everywhere, and especially today when the media markets are divided and there's less reporters than there ever has been.
Well, social media can be critical in a disaster. We can see potential impacts that we weren't aware of, road reports from just civilians on the ground driving around, possible building collapses in an earthquake that we weren't aware of, or it might be in a rural community.
There used to be the old days where you would say that if there was a photo published by a citizen or there was video put up, we would be very skeptical of it and frankly try to filter it out. We don't want to see it. Like, it's unverified information. But the reality is that drives the storyline of media. If you're not providing the images or providing context, those images and the things that are unverified are actually driving the storyline. Most of the time, it's a good gauge as to where you need to go for either rumor control or providing additional information, clarifying facts, focusing your effort on an area that perhaps you wouldn't have otherwise known, but because people are tweeting and providing information of something going on. So, it's still an evolving medium for us.
We're not afraid to experiment. We're also not afraid to get out information as quick as we can. Sometimes we do trip, sometimes we do fall, but then we're quick to correct it. And we're open and transparent about the stuff that we're pushing out.
The sooner you get out there and at least establish the communication, essentially putting up the flag and saying we're here and we're looking into it, the better chance you have of being that source of information. Because the reality is, if you're not there, you're not present, somebody else is going to fill the void. And the times I've actually heard the most upset PIOs is when there has been this delay. They've waited 3 or 4 hours to get a press release out, and in that amount of time, some person who's taken opportunity from the public is using it as a platform to complain about how state government's slow or the local agencies are incompetent. And in that amount of time, if you would have just put up the flag and said, hey, we're here, we're obviously concerned about the people that are impacted, and we're going to take some steps to help them, and we are, and we're going to provide you information over the course of time. I mean, that ends up paying big dividends when it comes to at least providing a channel of public information where other people can consume it.
I think that all the options that we use here at Cal OES or in emergency services may not be the right options for other agencies that are in other fields of communication, but I think that it's important to not be afraid to experiment, not be afraid to have some failures along the road, and if you aren't making mistakes, it's going to be much more difficult to learn something. You have to be able to trip and fall before you're able to run.
Back here in the State Operations Center, they're continuing to coordinate the emergency, and I imagine they will be here for at least a week or so after this because, aftershocks can really happen at any time.
Great information from Kelly and Brad about the Napa earthquake and social media response. We'll talk with you again soon.
Boston Marathon bombing is a great example of real-time situational awareness, gathering actionable intelligence, providing two-way communication, and crowdsourcing via social media. The city of Boston demonstrated the speed of communication and information sharing on social media. Not only did the Twitterverse light up with posts about the bombing from runners and bystanders, but the Boston Police Department took to Twitter and became the go-to source for official information. Breaking news on traditional media sites appeared nearly 30 minutes after the events being reported on social media. And you can see here a tweet from Andrew Kitzenberg reporting a bullet hole through his wall during the subsequent manhunt near MIT. Electronic media quickly realized the best way to get information was to follow the Boston Police Department on Twitter. Once they saw it on @BostonPolice, they quickly rebroadcast what was already being tweeted. Another interesting advantage of social media that's just beginning to come into its potential is the use of geolocated information for situational awareness. Social media users can add geographical identification data to various media, such as pictures on Instagram, videos on YouTube, websites, or other social media applications like Twitter. Geotagged photos posted to social media can help emergency responders collect information on where damage has occurred, whether it's around the world or, as we'll see in the next slide, in our own backyard. Companies such as Geophedia and Crisis Mappers have paid services that curate geolocated, geotagged social media, which is just beginning to provide ultra-enhanced situational awareness. This is a snapshot of a curated map from a company called Geophedia. Each flag represents a photo posted to Instagram. Users can click on any flag and see the image with the geotagged information providing visual detail. This is from the civil unrest in Baltimore, and you can see that responders would be able to use this service to identify damage being done to cars in this Baltimore neighborhood. This photo shows us geolocated posts from the Boston Marathon bombing. Tools like this have great potential to help operations during emergency response because we can now not only see what is happening, but also verify where. Of course, social media is not perfect and certainly has risks that you need to be aware of. Information posted is not always accurate and it still must be verified. You should only share or retweet information from credible sources, such as partnering or official agencies. Misinformation and rumors can also spread quickly. So this is another reason why by becoming a seasoned social media user through daily use via your personal account, you will be able to monitor various sites for problems and help correct misinformation and rumor quickly. One case in point. In the Boston Marathon, the FBI established a tip line and online submission form where they received thousands of photos and videos from bystanders. And because information was so much more readily available on social media, and so much information was being shared, public involvement provided the FBI with information about the incident faster than ever before. However, assumptions about the crime and the suspects were also shared by thousands of social media users on sites like Reddit, which is a website where registered community members can submit content such as text posts or direct links, making it essentially an online bulletin board system. As Forbes magazine pointed out later, while crowdsourced intelligence gathering was a massive success and crowdsourced crime solving was an abysmal failure, the FBI only ever asked for the first, but both happened simultaneously. As helpful as social media was to the Boston Police Department, they realized quickly it was a double-edged sword that could easily do more harm than good if left unchecked. A prime example of this was when well-intentioned citizen journalists, as well as traditional journalists, were sometimes providing too much information, potentially compromising the manhunt and the safety of officers and the public. The Massachusetts State Police Department and Boston Police repeatedly asked that search locations for the Boston bombing suspects not be posted on social media. There's a fairly strong argument that social media sites like Wikipedia are to an extent self-correcting, meaning that when false or inaccurate information is fed into the social media stream, individuals with more accurate or more credible information are likely to jump into the conversation and correct the misinformation. While it is easy for rumors to quickly spread as more and more people click or retweet, it is also easy to quickly correct rumors in the same way as new information comes to light. The Boston Police Department used social media to do just that. When rumors that the suspects in the Boston bombing case surfaced saying that the suspects had been arrested, they put out tweets correcting the information. The phenomenon is also evidenced in how quickly misinformation on social media about H1N1 was corrected by official sources and individuals in the affected areas. A 2010 analysis of the 2009 H1N1 epidemic related tweets showing that only 4.5% of the tweets randomly selected contained misinformation or speculation about the 2009 pandemic. Community outreach in the aftermath of an emergency includes sharing information about response and recovery efforts with the affected community. Agencies are using social media to get the word out quickly and to even more members of a community. President Obama's Twitter town halls are a great example of how government can provide a forum for users to ask and receive immediate answers to questions. In another example, the police department in Redwood City, California, hosts in-person town hall meetings. They use social media to promote the events and increase participation. And during the town hall meetings, department members post live updates via Twitter so interested followers can tweet their questions and comments and keep up with the action. Through Twitter, residents who aren't physically at the event can still participate. Following the event, department members post highlights on social media to keep the conversation going. You can use social media to gather information about community outreach events, even when your response activities prevent you from attending in person. Or you can use or encourage other agencies to use social media as part of their community outreach activities to engage more people and more community in the conversation. Now, name 2 ways social media can help support your crisis response. 2 ways are by gathering intelligence through crowdsourcing, geotagging, self-correcting rumors, and monitoring of social media, and through community outreach engaged via social media. Now that we've seen the benefits and the risks associated with social media, we'll do a quick review of the most popular sites being used today. There are hundreds of sites out there, but Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, blogs, and Instagram are among the most popular, and they're all easy to use. In the following slides, we'll give you a quick overview of each of these sites and how they are being used. Keep in mind, we're not saying that you have to use all of these types of social media platforms, but you should at least have an active Facebook and Twitter account and understand or be familiar with YouTube, blogs, and Instagram. Facebook is a social networking site with more than 1 billion users, 82% outside the US. You can build public or private groups and communities, sharing photos, videos, links, comments. It's a great discussion format for issues, and it's also connected to Instagram, so it can pull photos directly from users who have posted on Instagram. Facebook was certainly not the first social networking site, but it is the most popular by far, and it's used by people of all ages. It allows people to share thoughts, news, videos, and photos. It promotes the liking and sharing of posts from friends, as well as tagging friends or other users to allow people to stay connected with the people in their community. Facebook is commonly used in a disaster for users to share information with their friends and family and to connect with agencies, media, and other sources of information. Facebook has even jumped into the emergency response world with its newest feature called Safety Check that is activated after a disaster to help connect missing people. Twitter is a microblogging site and is by far the most relevant for disasters because of its short, real-time posts. In an emergency, users can reshare or retweet information from others, and they can reach other users quickly to discuss the emergency. Twitter allows for the posting of photos and videos, and it uses hashtags to filter relevant tweets or posts and to index content and to help people find it quickly. It has a new feature called Periscope that's been added to Twitter, and it allows users to live stream video to anybody, anywhere in the world. Twitter also allows you to direct message followers. And when it comes to crises, along with Facebook, Twitter is one of the most commonly visited sites for emergency information. YouTube is a social video site that allows for the posting of just about any length of video. It has more than 1 billion users. 300 hours of videos are uploaded every minute to YouTube, and half of the views are now on mobile devices. After emergencies, users upload videos of the aftermath, and sometimes they even have videos of the incident occurring, like we saw in the Boston Marathon case. Instagram is a photo sharing site, and it's very popular for its use of filters. You can add filters to change the look of your photo very, very easily without using anything like Photoshop to do it. Instagram employs hashtags to index content and to help people find content that they're interested in. It encourages the use of minimal text, and now is growing with more than 300 million active users, 30 billion shared photos in total. This is often now used in crises to share photos from mobile devices of the damage or the effects of the emergency. WordPress is one of many blogging platforms that allows you to post text and photos and videos in a blog or a weblog. More than 60 million posts per month just to WordPress alone. It has a user-driven style, and blogs on sites like WordPress provide first-hand user accounts of crises as they're emerging. Blogs are often editorialized, but popular blogs with a lot of established credibility may have millions of followers. Assessment question number 2. What are 2 of the most popular social media sites used in an emergency? And you could have named Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WordPress, or Instagram. Twitter is by far the most popular social site used almost immediately after disaster strikes, and Facebook takes second place when it comes to sharing disaster-related information. Both are proving equally important tools for both emergency management and the public before, during, and after a disaster. Now, there are 3 steps to engaging on social media, especially in a crisis. The first is to monitor what is being said. The second is to analyze it, and the third is to respond. If you do nothing else with your social media accounts, you should learn to monitor them. This is a critical component of understanding what's going on in your community and around the world. Think of it as social listening. Monitoring provides invaluable real-time situational awareness. It offers you insight into the public dialogue, the perception of the event, and the sentiment surrounding it. Once monitoring becomes a daily habit, you'll also feel comfortable to jump in and join the conversation. But before jumping into any conversation, you have to analyze and understand what you're seeing. Tools such as Hootsuite and TweetDeck are very handy and make monitoring multiple social media sites much easier. They also make the next 2 steps, analysis and response, manageable. Here's how they help. They allow you to view multiple Twitter or Facebook streams at a time, and they allow you to see who's mentioned you with the @mentions feature. You can search very easily for keywords and content with a hashtag, and you can see a real-time news feed from those you follow. It also allows you to post directly to multiple social media accounts from one common dashboard, helps you condense your posts to 140 characters on Twitter, and automatically can help you work with link shortening services like tinyurl or Bitly to help keep your posts succinct. The second step of using social media is to analyze the information you've collected in your monitoring. This step will help you figure out if information is correct, if rumors are being spread, if there's a problem brewing, you get the picture. Here are some questions to consider. When should you respond to rumors or misinformation, and how? The important part is that the information you're posting, even to personal social media accounts, is professional, respectful, and echoes information that has been approved for public release. Even the most seasoned social media users sometimes get fooled. This is a video that went viral during Hurricane Sandy. It was said to be a hurricane-ravaged McDonald's in Virginia. Check it out. This video was shared by millions of people around the world, but the problem is, it was from a 2009 art film called Flooded McDonald's, but it fooled a lot of people. Your final step of using social media is to respond. So as you've been monitoring social media channels, you've analyzed the information you found, and once you've determined it's best to respond, here are some guidelines for you. Be quick. Be conversational. Be transparent, consistent with our principles of information. Don't use jargon or acronyms, and provide value-added info. Don't just promote your agency or your organization or your unit. You need to provide information that provides value to people. So consider your audience. Who are they? Most people don't want to know what you had to eat, contrary to some posts on Instagram. During a disaster, nobody cares that you and your unit are standing by ready to help. What they care about is what you're doing to help them. So tell them. Share information you'd want to see or know about yourself. Ask yourself, what will add value to my online community? What are the 3 steps for engaging on social media? And the answer, of course, is to monitor, analyze, and respond. Operational security, or OPSEC, is a way to keep potential adversaries from gaining information that could put you or a service member at risk. General information that may seem unimportant and spread out over time can be pieced together on social media to tell the story of troop movements, missions, even the identities of service members or their families. And this could risk mission security or the safety of those on the home front. Privacy settings are an important thing to understand. You need to change your privacy settings to require approval for tags before they become public. Also, companies like Facebook change their privacy rules and settings with regularity, so you should regularly check to make sure that you understand what the settings mean. If you are the family of a service member, sharing their location or potential location can jeopardize personal and unit safety. Remind your service member to turn off the mapping device on their phone when deployed. Sharing photos on social media also can inadvertently reveal more information than you had intended. Photos and videos taken with your mobile phone may have your GPS location embedded. Check your location services on your phone in your system settings to make sure that that's turned off. Uploading a picture or a video to a social network with this feature turned on can reveal your location. Or posting a photo from your service member that has this data in it can also reveal their location. Most applications will allow you to adjust the privacy settings to limit this GPS data from being broadcast. Ultimately, you control what information is shared on social media. However, through third-party applications such as online games, surveys, or plugins from other websites, you might share more information than you had originally intended, and with a lot more people. For example, by using Facebook to sign into a website, you could be granting that site permission to collect data on when you are not online and to post on your behalf. This functionality can be easily turned off on most third-party applications in the settings menu. Beyond operational security are proprietary considerations. The lines blur online between personal and professional life. We represent our services even when off duty. Soldiers are accountable for their online activity. They should avoid creating or sharing content or participating in online activities counter to UCMJ or basic rules of soldier conduct. These don'ts are some examples of those activities subject to UCMJ. Don't post offensive or illegal information or material. Don't share libelous, obscene, abusive, threatening, or racially or ethnically hateful material. We do encourage soldiers to professionally and respectfully participate in online discussions to put out accurate information about the Army. Bottom line is that common sense applies on and off. A good rule of thumb, if you wouldn't say it in front of a formation, don't say it online. The following are some easy tips on how to use social media effectively. Use simple language. Create a list and network of trusted sources. Follow partner organizations. Share information in tweets, not just links to other information. You can use a series of tweets to explain detailed information. You want to follow like-minded or partner organizations. Use hashtags to index content and promote it. Reply quickly to those who write to you, and often. Correct erroneous information respectfully. And you can dispel rumors with the hashtag Mythbusters. You can crowdsource information. Ask a trusted online community to help share information and photos. And importantly, pass along any operational information quickly. You can build an online community before you need them. Before an incident is when you can build an online network. Use a URL shortener such as bit.ly or tinyURL, and use bit.ly to track your links to see how many people are using your links. In this module, we've discussed how we can all use social media to listen and engage social media users in an emergency. We want to engage actively. By engaging professionally, we can further the Army's messages and become a trusted, credible source for emergency information. We want to listen and be sensitive to the concerns and needs of others. Hashtags can help us refine the conversation and tune into the discussions relevant to the emergency. And finally, we can share approved messages when appropriate, connecting the public with government sources for emergency information.